I'd like to welcome all of you to class today. There are quite a few students who are out with COVID issues and other reasons, so make sure you listen to this video since in class I will explain in a lot more details the contents of these slides. If you look on our agenda for today, you can see what we're doing, but more importantly, on this last column where it says lab time, here I've listed what you need to submit by Monday and where you need to put it. So make sure you use this slide as a checklist. I also tried to include that in your instructions in Canvas for homework. So today, our last learning style or Style Academy exercise is going to deal with balance. In the perfect world, I would have had one more lesson or shown you two videos today because both of them are important and they both deal with balance. But what I decided to do is just cover part one quickly in class and then let you watch unit or part two. So part one talks about making sure that our sentences are parallel in structure. And I skipped that one because you've probably had this lesson before. But anytime you have coordinating conjunctions like and, but, or so, whatever you put on both sides of them need to be the same grammatical instruction. For example, if you have the word and around it you have two names, and one is just a first name and the second one is a first and last, it's not parallel. So you need to make them the same. If around the word but you have two verbs, make sure that both verbs are constructed the same. For example, they should both be the same type of a verb, like an ing verb if that's what you're doing. So you need to make parts around coordinating conjunctions the same. So with that in mind, I skipped that video. And this video deals with more of balance in a big picture. And there are two places in the video where he talks about a rhetorical balance and has you stop and do some exercises. So that will be your assignment. I want to also add a part to this exercise that I told the students after the video. In a report, you need to have balance as well. For example, if you have divided your report into chunks, or you have a place in your report where you have bullets or numbers or something like that, you need to make them equal as well in weight. And what I mean by that is, like, if you have three parts of your report in the body and one part has one paragraph, but the other two parts have multiple paragraphs, those three elements are not in balance. So you can even think of this term of balance in how much space you're using in a report to make sure that they equal and are the same. So watch the video. It's very enlightening and will teach you a lot of tools of how to be those polished writers. This is the type of a video that speech writers would use extensively in preparing final drafts before, like, graduation speeches or a presidential State of the Union type speech. In this part of the lesson, I'm going over questions that all the students have with their upcoming assignments. And so I've just noticed on here the learning log isn't there. I'll go back and add it to the actual PowerPoint in just a minute. But remember, your notebook number 5 is an infographic. It needs to be uploaded to your website. It also is included in your final draft of your paper. Your interview assignment has 4 parts to it. Those 4 parts are included in the actual assignment. You can look over that initial assignment that I gave you, and it reviews the 4 things that you need. Those 4 parts will be stapled together, and remember, that is worth 50 points as a test score. The notebook number 5 is worth 25 points. Your business letter, your thank you letter that you're going to eventually mail, actually I will mail it to the person that you interviewed, needs to be printed, and I will go over it. And remember, this letter needs to be error-free, meaning if there's any flaws with it whatsoever, I'm going to have you fix it and redo it again. So with that business letter, in class I went over format, but you can go back to the video where we talked about it, the format. Remember, it's modified block, mixed punctuation. Finally, your report. Today we're going to be focusing on the report and from more of an editing angle, and I'll talk about what I'm looking for, and students in class will be spending some time on these different areas of the report and cleaning things up. So this is in class we're playing a little game called Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I've learned over the last few years since I've done this that students, even the smart ones, are really uncomfortable with sending a business letter. So I'm just asking a couple students to illustrate what you do to mail that letter to class, to somebody through a post office. And of course, most of them don't do it very well. So I asked my granddaughter to record a little video. I gave her the instructions and she did that. Unfortunately, she talks a little bit fast. So anyway, she will show you an example of what to do on an envelope. Remember, if you're not here in class, when you come back, I can give you an envelope and a stamp, but they need to be accurate for the Postal Service. So the majority of our class is dealing with editing. Remember, there's a big difference between editing and revising. You always want to revise first because revision deals with your ideas and making the essay and the content better, whereas editing deals with stylistic choices that you make and cleaning things up. So once your ideas are in place, then you need to move to editing. And this is where some college classes, you can separate an A from a C paper in just a couple of hours of work. I included a reminder of Ernest Hemingway when he was writing For Whom the Bell Tolls, that he was not satisfied with his conclusion, and he revised and then edited it 39 times to get it right. So most of you are probably on your third draft, which means you still have a lot of work to do. This slide and the next one will cover the 6 areas that I am looking for. I'm just going to briefly cover each one for you and then make sure that you spend ample time proofing your work and what I am looking for. So in the first category, I'm dealing with syntax. In other words, what your sentences look like, the variety of your sentences, how you combine them, whether or not you are implementing what we've talked about in Style Academy. My suggestion is you review all your notes from Learning Log number 3 and then go to your draft and consciously think about how do your sentences look. Again, you do not want similar sentences. You don't want a lot of sentences that begin with the word the. So try different stylistic approaches, what we've learned in this unit, and then actually apply it to your final draft. To me, that would take at least an hour. The next one is prose style. Remember, a report, you are expected to write it academically in more of a formal voice. So that means that I should not see impersonal language. I shouldn't see things like contractions in your writing. I should be led through your writing with transitional words. So clean it up. Colloquial language, casual language has no place in a report. The third area is documentation. This is where I'm reviewing what to do for in-text citation, how to lead your sentences with attributions to give credit to the content and show that you've actually done research, how those in-text citations should match up with your works cited page, and answering any questions. I'm also reminding students to limit your quotes. Do not have more than 5% of your essay quoted. In these next 4, number 4 is dealing with down at the language or word level. And so I want you to go back and just look at the language. Any word that is not concise, get rid of it. You shouldn't say words like good. Everything should be clear and understandable for your college reader. Number 5 is the format. Remember, we are following MLA 8.0. I've given you some documents earlier in this unit on what it should look like. Remember, your header should be on every page. That's your last name with the page number, but your heading should only be on the first page. Remember, there are 4 lines of your heading: your name, my name, your class and section, and then the due date, which is 3 May 2021. The entire essay or report should be in Times New Roman 12 point. That includes the header, and the header does not default as Times New Roman, so just make sure that you check the font in your header once it's on your document. The length of your paper should be at least 4 pages. Remember, that's the essay itself. I will expect the longer draft if you have a large infographic. Remember, your works cited, although it has a page number, does not count in those 4 pages. Finally, your works cited needs to be double spaced. Make sure that you center your title and it is concise, specific, and quite long. Remember, your sources need to be in alphabetical order, again in Times New Roman. Your sources need to follow the hanging indentation format. There is nothing in bold, nothing underlined. Your books and journals would be italicized. So it's all of the rules of MLA 8.0. This slide, number 10, is what bugs me in academic writing. So these are kind of my list of, make sure that you clean them out. I do not like sentences that begin with here are, it is, there is, and when I see them I cringe. It's like fingernails on blackboards. So get rid of those in your writing. I feel like be verbs are lazy verbs. So in an academic essay, you can literally write the whole thing without one. So set that as your goal. Of course, it may not be possible, but set that as your goal. Remember, you do not want to shift into second person. In other words, I do not see the words you or your anywhere in the essay. And finally, unclear pronoun references. That usually causes a problem when students use the word it. So it always refers to the last noun, and usually when students are lazy and they're using it, that isn't the case. So it is a general, boring word. Only use it in the latter part of the sentence when the noun it is referencing is nearby. Finally, in class today, I had all of the students upload their draft into turnitin.com. I set your assignment for your report so that you can submit multiple drafts. I want you to look for 2 things. The first one is going to give you a similarity score. Remember, for reports, I want minimal quoting. So if your score is over 5%, I think it is too high. The second thing is if you look on the right-hand column of Turnitin, there are 3 colors bars. The blue one is where I will add comments. The red is a similarity score, where you can click on it and see what looks like some other source, and I can do the same thing. And so that's the gotcha source. And then finally, the last one is purple, and this is a great grammar checker. To me, this separates a C paper from an A paper. Nothing drives college teachers bonkers than a lot of lazy errors. So use this and go through and read the comments. Of course, there might be a few that are off, but you can make that distinction. And it seems like every time I click on that purple link, when I'm grading students' essays, I'm wondering why they didn't take advantage of this before they turned in their final draft, because it would certainly improve their overall grade. So those are the things that are due. Make sure you look in Canvas lesson today for all of the assignments that are due Monday. This is the last big push. May is going to lighten up. We're going to do multimedia and improve your website. So this is the last big push. Just stick with me this weekend and get it all done. And have a good weekend. And those of you who are suffering from the effects of COVID, I hope you're better soon. Thank you. Bye.